How's everybody? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Devin. This is my brother Aiden.
Yeah, hey, what's up, guys?
Today we're going to just be chatting about what it was like when my brother had COVID-19.
Yeah.
Cool. So, what did everything look like? Like, when you got COVID, you know, what happened?
Yeah, so I think COVID came, into the world, and everyone was kind of adapting to it and getting used to this whole lockdown thing. I just carried on. I kind of threw myself into the work that I was doing. I threw myself into working out, even trying to keep active. And so I didn't think much of it. I didn't think I had this thought of like, I have a feeling someone around me is going to get COVID, and then lo and behold, it's me. So I kind of throughout the week I did my thing. I went shopping the one day, and then on the following Friday we had church, and it was then the next Saturday I started showing symptoms, and so I'm fairly certain it was from the shopping that I did, is where I caught it possibly. And so it was on the Saturday morning that we helped our uncle move around his flat, and there was lots of dust, and so it triggered a bit of a tight chest. And I just thought, same dismissal. I thought it was just like an asthma kind of thing, dust
acting up, yeah.
And so I didn't think much of it, but then, the whole Saturday I was really struggling. It got progressively worse, and then come Sunday morning I woke up and it wasn't gone. Normally I would go to sleep, wake up in the morning, and it's maybe still lingering but gone. But this time it wasn't. So then we decided, that Sunday night we'd go get a test. Went for the tests, came back, and Monday it had gotten better, but it was still bad. So this is now 3 days, and we normally only last maybe a day, pushing for 2. And so it went on Tuesday, still tight chest, and then Wednesday morning I woke up really early in the morning. I think I was up at 2. Not because of the chest, just like, my mind was active. I was waiting for the test results, and I looked at my phone, and then it says positive. And I think the reality of it sunk in. So I didn't sleep. I didn't go back to sleep. I couldn't. I just couldn't. And so first thing in the morning, I just messaged Dad and I said, hey, listen, my results have come back positive. And so I was still in my room at the point, and I didn't leave it, because obviously being positive, I don't want to be walking around the house. And so that's when we then sunk in, put in all the procedures.
I woke up to Mom coming into my room, like grabbing my foot and being like, Dev, Aiden tested positive. And it was like, okay, all right.
Wow.
Like, we're gonna do it. And it's crazy because like one of the things that was big for me in it was we had a plan kind of going forward. When COVID started, when stuff got like a bit hectic in South Africa, we sat down as a family and discussed things. And we said, if one of us gets it, we're going to have to like go through this whole procedure and everything. So like I can imagine that procedure was also going through your mind. Like that conversation we'd had was kind of coming back and going, okay, I've got to prep this now, I've got to get this ready, I've got to isolate and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So it was kind of a thing of, I went into that, the idea of, okay, I'm positive, there's now a process we need to follow as a family. I went into it with such peace, because I was just like, what, that's cool. It's okay, there's a procedure for a reason. We've decided on things because we don't want to be fearful, we don't want to be worried about what's coming. And so I was very calm. I think Mom and Dad were the ones who were like all over the place. But I was actually quite calm with it. I think
even Karen and I were quite calm. I mean, the two of us were relatively like, okay, Aiden's got COVID. It wasn't a thing of like, oh, my brother's like, we weren't like suddenly fearful of it all. But then we knew that, okay, now we've got to follow the procedures as well and help out where we can. So we completely sealed off my brother's room. Like, the room that we're in now was completely sealed off. There's a bathroom next door, so he had that bathroom to use. There was space underneath where we would pass Aiden food. Otherwise, like, you were properly sealed off.
I literally felt like that movie Bubble Boy, where he lives in his room and his parents have to hug him through the thing with the arms, and it was literally that. It was airtight. I think, other than maybe my windows with a bit of a breeze coming in, it really was. It was properly sealed, and I think a lot of people's stance isn't as extreme. Some people are just social distancing within the house. Which I think has its benefits, but I believe that's it's a missed opportunity to ensure there's not a prevention of the spread. And so what we did was the extreme.
And us doing what we did meant that none of the rest of us got COVID.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how none of the rest of us got COVID like leading up to it, because even
there were those
before,
two or so days where I was still in the house.
Yeah. So I have no idea how none of us got COVID anyway.
It's because when I sneeze, I do it into my elbow. See,
There we
it
go.
helps, guys.
There we go. But like, having that shield between you and the family, like it really did create a space of protection.
Yeah, exactly. And I think I'm very aware of the fact that I had it easy. I know just having a tight chest, I did have a sore throat and I had headaches quite frequently, but I think those are the less severe symptoms, and I'm very aware that I had it easy. And so I wasn't nearly near my deathbed. I wasn't needing to be hospitalized, and I think that really added to maintaining the peace. It was really important. I was kind of aware. Like I think as people we can discern and read our bodies and say, okay, is this something that's manifesting? Is it something that's hectic and it's going to be there for a while?
Yeah.
Or is there something not to worry about? And I had the latter. And so I was fairly confident, like I have nothing to really worry about. I'm okay.
Yeah.
I went into it with that mindset.
One of the things that I also found very interesting is with lockdown and everything, the household, like our household was in lockdown, and our dad put in like strict restrictions. We barely left the house, and I think that's one of the crazy things about you having had COVID is I think out of all of us, you may have actually left the house the least.
Yep.
But you were the one who actually got it. And like you said earlier, you feel like you may have got it at the shops at that stage. Now this was like towards the end of May, early June, right?
Yeah.
Or was it mid-June?
It was beginning of June. So it was like the first week or so that I went shopping. Second week was when everything happened.
Yeah. So like it was quite early on as well, when things weren't at the spike that we're currently at the moment. So that was something that really stood out to me, because a lot of people feel like COVID's distant. Like there's other people who are getting COVID. I'm not affected by it. And suddenly you brought it home from one trip out. The rest of the time being quite strict with not having people over, not going to people.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And again, I say, I had this mindset of like, I have a feeling someone around me is going to get it, and I go and get it. It was that exact same mindset. I know people who were going, place to place, people who were working, and maybe their jobs entailed going into other people's homes. And so in my mind, I'm like, okay, I know they're following procedures, but frankly, they have more chance of getting it.
Yeah.
So I was like, my chance, I'm just going shopping. I'm staying away from people. I was sanitizing everywhere. I wore my mask. Everything was in place, but then I bring it home. It's very interesting. Like we were taking a very extreme stance on trying to stay safe.
Yeah.
It still kept its way. Very interesting.
And I think that speaks into the importance of sanitation and stuff now. I mean, not that we weren't. We were sanitizing, every time we left the house, came back in, we washed hands, we even cleaned, like there were stages where we would shower as soon as we got home, like those kind of things.
Yes.
But I think it highlights the importance of remaining sanitary and being aware wherever you go.
Yeah.
Like, because for some of us, we're going shopping. For some of us, we have to go to work, or there's certain places where we have to go. And just being aware that when you're in those places, make sure to watch what you're touching, to wash your hands, to be aware of things, while at the same time remembering that at any stage you could be exposed to it.
Yeah.
Like there's two sides of it. You can't be too careful, but at the same time, like there is still a risk. As soon as you leave the house, there's a risk of getting it, no matter how strict you're being. So being aware of those two things, I think, is important.
Yeah, very much so.
Outside of the disease, though, like what happened in that space? How was it being isolated? How was it being separated in that space?
Yeah, I think my initial piece that I went into everything with, it was this like whole thing of, okay, cool, I've got 2 weeks to myself. Like it's a sabbatical in the house. Like how nice.
Yeah.
No one can come into my room. It's completely my own territory. And so I was excited for that. And I think it was on that night that in the evening, once everyone had settled down, that I sat with what's happening. And that piece very quickly was just, it wasn't gone, but it was just, it became a bit of a flip. Like I'm positive for the next 2 weeks I'm here alone. Like this is a little bit scary. So I think fear then sank in, and so that separation was something. How do I put this? There's a massive I think psychological effect that people go through, and I felt that. I really did feel that isolation was not necessarily just a physical one, but also psychological isolation, an emotional one. And so already you've got this lockdown where I can't see my friends. Now it's isolation and quarantine where I can't even see family.
Yeah.
And so that the emotions that come with lockdown were almost exaggerated in that scene, in that 2 weeks. And so, yeah, I think definitely that separation, while it was beneficial for everyone, and I don't regret doing it. It's so important. It did have an effect for sure.
Yeah. So would you say the fear that you mentioned earlier, was that towards the disease itself, or was that like what was that towards? Was it more towards isolation?
I think it was a mix of both, because to be honest, it was navigating emotion. You know, it was this flood of this reality of, okay, the world is at a standstill because of this thing, and now it's in my body.
Yeah.
You know, so there's that reality, and I think I stand by what I said earlier. The fear of, you know, death wasn't a fear. It was never that, because I know, you know, I'm in a position where I'm young, I'm healthy, I'm fit, and it's okay. You know, so I had optimism about pushing through, but I think just the reality of like it made its way into me, you know, it was kind of a bit of a reality check as well. I think it was also just this whole thing of, okay, the 2 weeks ahead are going to be hectic. You know, I had the idea of I could get worse from this point. You know, it's a virus that does have an effect on people, and so I could get worse. I could get better, and not knowing, I think, was also also that thing. And then I think the reality that psychologically I was very separated from the family. I think that also played a role. So I think there was this like big mixture of emotions that just, you know, I sat still. I just thought about what's happening, and I sat there and I was like, whoa.
Like everything hit like a train.
It just hit like a train. And I think for the first bit of that day, because obviously we woke up in the morning, and so we spent the day in isolation. You know, I binge watched a whole lot of YouTube. I ate some tuna noodles. I was in my element. I was living life. And in the evening, when I was in the quiet and I really slowed down to think about this, that's when it just
I think it's important to mention that, you know, if you're feeling any of the symptoms, don't be afraid to speak it out to somebody. I think it's tempting to try and hide the symptoms, because you're like, I don't want to impose the family now, or I don't want to, you know, whatever. And I think it's important to, if you do have the symptoms, contact your doctor, contact the GP, and rather get tested, because you could be carrying that disease then into the family and then infecting the family. There could be somebody in your household who really wouldn't respond well. I think one of the things we're all realizing now as well is the disease doesn't affect everyone the same. Like it affected you mostly in your chest and you had headaches. But I know of people who either don't feel a thing, or the headaches are like splitting migraines that just knock them for a six, you know? Each person gets the symptoms in a different way, but don't be afraid of the symptoms. If you are isolating because you've tested positive, watch your symptoms. If your symptoms get really, like if they get to a point where you're uncertain and you're going, are they bad now? Are they really not bad? Contact your GP. Like, I feel like that's so important, because rather err on the side of caution and be safe. If you have the disease, then you suddenly hit this spike where everything is hectic and stuff goes bad really quickly.
I think there's also a social responsibility to break the stigma. You know, if you believe that there's a stigma about COVID-19 and having it, and you know, if that is what is stopping you from being open about your symptoms, it's actually socially irresponsible. You know, to still live life, to still do things, to be in your house with your family and not disclose that. It's actually unfair. Really,
100%.
Hey guys, it's been absolutely fun hanging out with you and Dave on this channel. Be sure to hit the notification bell down below, as well as subscribe if you've enjoyed the channel. This is a part 1, so stay tuned for part 2.
If you guys have any questions at all, chuck them down in the comments. Otherwise, guys, we love you guys. Stay safe and God bless. Devin Aiden in the morning.